Josh. Good evening, everyone. I'll call to order the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, July 14th, 2022, 6 p.m. I'd like to invite Charles Cochran up. He's with East Ridge Church of Christ to provide our invocation and lead us in our pledge. If everyone will stand.
Father and God, we want to thank you first of all for Mayor Williams and the City Council and all of those who serve the great city of East Ridge. Father, we want to thank you that they want to begin this meeting in prayer. And we recognize that you are sovereign God of all and above all, and you rule and reign in the affairs of men. And Father, we thank you so very much for the word, the Bible that you've given us to guide us, to help in making moral, spiritual decisions that are for the good of our city and for this nation. Father, we're thankful tonight for the love that you show to us every day, the grace and mercy provided through your Son and our Savior, the Lord Jesus Christ. We just pray your blessings upon the meeting tonight and all decisions that will be made. Guide those, Father, who are leading our city with wisdom and understanding. Thank you, Father, for all that you continue to do for us as we serve and seek to do your will. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Mayor Williams,
Here.
Vice Mayor Chauncey,
Here.
Councilmember Cagle,
Here.
Councilmember Helton,
Here.
Councilmember Witt,
Here.
City Manager Dorsey,
Here.
City Attorney Litchford.
Here. All right, thank you. The first item we have on the agenda is a special proclamation. So I'd like to ask Mr. Ray Hudgens if he would come forward along with his son, and council, if you'd like to come down front, please. We have a special presentation. Chris, everybody taking pictures? You got it? Dan's got it. Front and center, sir. Your special guest. So we understand you have a milestone birthday coming up. And we want to celebrate that. We want to thank you for your service. We want to do a special proclamation for you from the city. I believe Councilmember and Representative Helton would also like to say a few words here in a minute. But on behalf of the city of East Ridge, I'd like to present you with this proclamation. And it reads, whereas on July 16th, 2022, Ray Hudgens will celebrate a milestone, his 100th birthday. Whereas born in 1922, Oliver Pop and Kitty Green family moved to Chattanooga when Ray was 3 years old. And whereas as a young boy, Ray worked at his father's establishment, Pop's Barbecue in Chattanooga, then worked for Southern Railroad for a year before being drafted to the Army at the age of 18, serving his country in Germany during World War II from 1942 to 1955. Whereas when Ray returned home, he once again worked at Southern Railroad until 1954, where he opened his own Pop's Barbecue restaurant on Ringo Road in East Ridge. Whereas 20 years later, Ray sold his restaurant and become a building inspector for the city of East Ridge, retiring in 1987 at the age of 65. And whereas Ray was inducted into the Greater Chattanooga Sports Hall of Fame in 1986 and the USA Sports Hall of Fame in 2021 for his best fit softball career. And whereas Ray was married to the love of his life, twin for more than 50 years before passing. And they too had two sons, the late Kenny Hudgens and Bobby Hudgens. Now therefore, I, Brian Williams, Mayor, declare Saturday, July the 16th, 2022, Ray Hudgens Day in East Ridge, Tennessee, and encourage all citizens to honor Ray on the occasion of his 100th birthday and recognize his service to the city of East Ridge and to the United States of America as a member of the greatest generation. Through service to the city, to our country, and we're so excited.
Yeah, GW asked me to work a couple of weeks with him. Almost 10 years.
Awesome, awesome. I think
Okay.
Esther has a few things to say and any other council member would.
Mr. Hudgens, I'm not gonna read this in its entirety because it has some of the same ones. But on behalf of myself and Cameron. This is the Great House of Representatives. We have to present this proclamation to his birthday. Thank you for everything you've done for the city of East Ridge and especially for our country. You're a pure joy.
Yeah.
We're so honored that you live in East Ridge.
Awesome.
Great job.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the next item of business, the approval of the minutes of June 23rd, 2022 council meeting. I assume, council members, you've had an opportunity to read and review the minutes. I will entertain a motion for the
Motion
minutes.
to approve the minutes.
Second.
A motion to approve by Vice Mayor Chauncey and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do we have any discussion, corrections? I see none. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Chauncey,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Helton.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. We'll move to the next item, communications from citizens. This is an opportunity for any resident citizen who would like to come forward, address the council with any questions, concerns, accolades, and everyone will have 5 minutes. We have one that's actually signed in, and it is Glenn Meadows. Yes, sir. If you want to come forward, state your name and address for the record, please.
Right. I'm Glenn Meadows, Wally's Restaurant, 6521 Ringo Road. And thank you for all your time and consideration in this. So it's the ordinance, I don't know the number, but it's first ordinance on whole business. And it's my understanding that that's not going to be resolved tonight. And that affects me and my business. And so I'm asking that perhaps that council would consider or tell me the path that I could have the road closures as it relates to my property taken care of separately,
Okay.
if that makes sense. So just curious if that could happen, if there's a possibility of that. I took the initiative back in the beginning. I went to RPA. I filed the application. I paid the fee. The signs are on my property, about what's happening. And I do appreciate council's consideration. And even on the first reading, the vote, the positive vote for that, I really do. And I'm not taking that for granted, but I would like to know, it does appear that there could be some bumps in the road, no pun intended, uh, as we move forward in getting a resolution, and it doesn't affect the bumps in the road are not me. If I'm making sense of that, it's not anything that the city is requiring of me. It's required of another party. And so it doesn't seem fair that I am being, I don't know what the word is. This is not happening as it relates to my property because of another party. And so I think that's it. That's all I have to say. I'm just asking, is there a path forward that that I can perhaps become just separate from the other issue?
So there will be, when we get to the ordinance, there will be discussion amongst council if you want to proceed or if other actions, but I'll ask city attorney to weigh in here on the application as it stands and possible separation.
All right, thank you, Mayor. So where we sit, there's a little, not a lot of history, but we'll get into it as we get into the discussion for old business ordinance 1168. This was a matter that was brought to us pursuant to an application filed with respect to 3 parcels of property, and those parcels are tax map 169L-L-004.01, 0.02, and then just and 004. You've got an application here of which 3 parcels were identified. As part of that, one involves a private right-of-way that if it were closed by the private owners, it would impact the city's ability to access Slater Road on the east side. We have been in discussions with the owner of that right-of-way about whether or not they would grant a perpetual easement and that would allow for public access, public ingress and egress across that. It has, unfortunately, it has delayed, Mr. Meadows. Mr. Meadows is correct in that it's not, that property is not property that the Wally's property owns. It has an easement to it. There is an interest for that to always remain access while Mr. Meadows has an easement to it. He has an interest in seeing that it always has a public access right away as well. But the developer could essentially cut off Slater Road, which would impact the ability to access the properties behind, for Champy's restaurant to be able to use the light, the restaurant or the developments behind Champy's, as well as an alternate route for police and fire to get through that area from Slater Road if the developer would. It is probably unlikely it ever gets cut off. But the reality is it's private property and they have that right. I think we're about very close. I agree with Mr. Meadows. We had hoped to have got something back weeks ago with respect to the easement. We got it back yesterday. And where we sit now is there was an inclusion of a provision with respect to maintenance and upkeep of that right of way. But that's tough for the city to take on maintenance of property it doesn't own. There's liabilities issues. There potentially can be disputes with property owners to what their determination is to adequate upkeep and maintenance and consistent with other roads in the city. Point is, we have gone back. I spoke this afternoon with the attorney of this property with hopes that we get a resolution. I understand from him, he's encouraged where we are, but we're just not there yet. I mean, that, and I do recognize that affects Mr. Meadows, but there are a couple issues here, and the application itself was filed with respect to 3 properties, which was one of these properties, the one that's included here. And so that's where we sit. I guess I went more into it. This will be the same explanation I would give at the old business, but the reality is there's a few things we do have to get resolved that can be resolved, and it's an application involving all 3 properties.
Thank you, sir. So you're seeing positive
I am
feedback
encouraged.
and encouraged.
I have been assured that I would be getting a contact as early as next week. And as soon as I get something, I will update this council. I'll update Mr. Meadows. And we can get something. I understand he's got what he's trying to, transactions, and we recognize that. As soon as I get anything, I will notify you.
I understand that. I understand it's impeding his opportunities. The alternative that was asked was separation of that. My understanding, you correct me if I'm wrong, that would require an additional application to be filed technically from the beginning.
I expect
What would have to
OPA
occur?
to say you can't separate it was submitted as one application for the abandonment. And that's what we're deciding here. To piecemeal it, they would say, well, wait a second. The public hearing that we already had didn't identify the potential for a splitting of it. And while there may be no opposition, the point is you're modifying what you're determining. The request was for abandonment of 3 right-of-ways. There was a public hearing on that. If you separate that now, I do believe you'd have to go back through the application process to allow for the RPA to review it, planning commission to vote on it, a public hearing to occur, and then you re-vote on that as well.
So I don't want to belabor this, but I do want to try to understand. So you feel being encouraged, it's potentially possible of having a resolution by next council?
Yes. I firmly believe that, yeah. And the attorney recognized that he recognizes the urgency of it, but he indicated that the owner of that property has been out of the country, I think in India. And so I guessing, but I think he wasn't. So my expectation is he is returning next week and I'm expecting a phone call. I'll reach out to him if I don't hear from him.
Okay. So it's kind of decision whether we'll make the decision when we get to the ordinance in 1168, how the council wants to proceed, but being advantageous, could be resolved as soon as next week if you feel that encouraged. Otherwise, it could take a month or longer for another process to start.
It could, but my expectation is based on the conversations that even with the attorney, that he's going to recommend a resolution to the property owner that we hope will resolve everything and the idea being that it would preserve that area between Champions and Wally's heading north from Ringgold Road up to Slater Road would always be preserved as a public right of way or allow for public access.
Okay. All right. Thanks, sir. Hope that somewhat provides some input back. All right. Is there anyone else? I didn't have anybody else that signed in, but if there's anyone else in the audience that would like to come forward, now is your opportunity. I don't see anyone. So I will now move to the next item, communication from council members. I'll start on this side. Councilmember Witt,
Nothing.
Councilmember Hilton,
Nothing at this time.
Vice Mayor Chauncey,
Nothing there.
Councilmember Cagle.
One thing,
Yes, sir.
I've had several citizens call and want to know when we're going to put our boom mower out cutting the edge of the roads.
He was supposed to do, what's it, sanctuary?
Sanctuary, that's one of them.
Yeah, he was supposed to start on that today, but he got called off on doing something else, so.
Rowley
that-
Road is
we're-
another one.
Yeah,
and I
they,
noticed this
they,
one
we
down
talked about
here.
that earlier this morning, as a matter of fact.
I noticed one down here done been cut, evidently the landlord cut it. So,
Yeah.
Anything else, sir?
We were short one employee, as you probably know, for a while. And so we're scrambling, we're catching back up on some of the stuff that we've gotten behind on.
All right. Next up is me. So I have a few things as I usually do. So one of the things I'd like to talk about is the great event we had on July the 9th, Paws in the Park. I want to have a big thank you to the Boyd Foundation, which provided grant funding to communities to build dog parks across the state of Tennessee. They awarded East Ridge one of only 15 $25,000 grants in the state of this past year. We wanted to thank Harrison Forbes, who actually attended from the Boyd Foundation and was participating in the check presentation. I'd like to have an extended gracious thanks to Vice Mayor Chauncey for his involvement, his dedication to the project. He spent numerous hours regarding the location, the completion of the new park, which included several donations, fencing, concrete work, and benches. So really appreciate all the effort there. Also like to thank East Ridge Parks and Rec for their support, and a very special acknowledgement to Shauna Skiles and Michelle Hobbs for her tremendous work in making this event successful. Started out with a drizzle. It was a little gloomy, it was a little wet, but it didn't stop us. We had the check presentation. The clouds parted. We got sunshine, and it was a beautiful, beautiful day when it ended. Also, thanks to Byron and the building and maintenance crew for all the work they had getting to set up the obstacles, running lines, and installing benches. And of course, we had tremendous amount of support from vendors and community organizations that was well representing East Ridge and other areas during the event. So we're very excited about it being open, grand opening, ribbon cutting. We know that it'll be enjoyed by many pet families for years and years to come. Couple upcoming events I wanted to mention is the Red Wolves will be playing Saturday the 16th at 7:30, North Carolina FC. And then on the 23rd, they'll be playing Northern Colorado at 7:30 also. Those are 2 home games. Wanted to mention East Ridge City Library on Monday, the 18th. There's a drop-in from 5 to 7 for a summer reading event. Oceans of Possibilities. Finale Luau is the topic. Wanted to mention also on the 21st, we're going to have a community meeting. I'll ask Chief Allen if I'd come and talk about the community meeting that is planned on the 21st from 6 to 8.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. This will be next Thursday, a week from tonight, 6 to 8. This is something we've been trying to get done for some time now, and COVID and some other issues, but we want the community to come out. We're going to present some things, but mainly what we want is input and questions from the community on how we can work together better to reduce the crime and make it East Ridge better. Really encourage people to come.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I think it's a great event, community outreach. And then on August the 5th through the 7th, Friday through Saturday, from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. daily, there will be the Light Up Tennessee Balloon Glow. So we're going to have beautiful balloons again in Camp Jordan. So it'll be a great event that you wouldn't want to miss. And then I'm going to pass it to City Manager with a couple, as usual, if he'll provide us an update on the multimodal and our paving update. And that's all that I have. Sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll start with the multimodal update. As y'all have seen, we've had plenty of crews out there working on this project. They're starting, as we set up by Kingwood on the south side, working this way. We've had a couple of small hiccups with utility issues, but it's moving forward. They can't even get concrete for the next 2 weeks. That's how much of a shortage there is. There's no concrete that they can get for the next 2 weeks. But I also talked to them about a concern a couple of businesses had where, you have the barrels there, but some people don't know where to turn between the barrels to get into the businesses. So I asked them to see if they could at least make some entrance signs that we could put out by the barrel so people would know where to be able to turn in to take care of that issue. I also received a response back finally from TDOT dealing with an issue with, as I call them, the aprons, where where Tombras meets Ringo Road. There's a section that flares off that's, as you all know, has deteriorated quite a bit. I talked to Joe Deering out there and got a response from him. They're going to look at having their paving crew this fall, have that be one of the items they take care of, is to go down and fix as many of those aprons as they're able to. So we're putting together a list of from worst to last, if that makes sense. The worst one, and working our way down with ranking them and see how far the money and their crew will be able to go. So very happy we're able to move forward with that. Number 3, we have our ad has already been placed for the spot paving bids that we've been talking about. It will appear in the paper Sunday. Now the Times Free Press being digital, except for Sunday, that's the only day you can put legal ads in. So that's we have that coming up. So we should get those bids back in time to, our plan is to have them approved by council, whichever recommendation we have, at the August 11th meeting, because they need to be out for about 2.5 to 3 weeks and then come back in. We have that. We're also looking at getting ready to put out a request for qualifications for architecture engineering for the animal shelter. Now that we've started the new fiscal year, we have the money that you all approved to be able to move forward with that project. So we're looking forward to hopefully getting that underway in the next couple of weeks to get that RFQ out. And finally, I'd like to ask Police Chief Stan Allen to come up here for a minute. He has something he'd like to say.
Thank you, Chris. Mayor, Council, when I came to work here in 2015, my plan was to stay for 5 years. Gone a little bit beyond that now. Some things happened back in 2018 that changed my plans, but I'm ready for me time. I've notified the city manager, I am retiring in September as chief of police. Not moving out of the city. I'm not going to work somewhere else. I'm just going to stop working. I want to thank Chris for the confidence that he showed in me by appointing me to this position. Thank the council for your support that you've given me and the department over these years. And I mean, I'm going to ask you for some more support in just a few minutes, but I really love working here, but it's time for me to retire and take it easy. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your service. Definitely appreciated.
Thank you, Stan. And we've already gotten in touch with MTAS and the consultants up there to start looking at the process of starting to do a search for our new police chief. Where we are at this point. And again, thank you for all you've done, Stan.
Yeah.
He's not gone yet, but he's got a couple more months to abuse him. So yeah, so we're good. And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. We'll move to old business ordinance number 1168.
This is an ordinance of the City Council for the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, abandoning portions of 3 closed right-of-ways as follows. McDonald Road located at lots 6517 and 6521 Ringo Road, Slater Road located on lots 6519, 6521, and 6517 Ringo Road, and an unnamed road located on lots 6519 and 6517 Ringo Road as detailed on the attached map, subject to certain conditions.
Thank you, sir. We talked about this briefly during communication with citizens, so I'll entertain a motion for ordinance number 1168.
Make a motion to discuss, please.
Second the motion for discussion.
We have a motion for discussion from Vice Mayor Chauncey and a second by Councilmember Hilton.
So I just, I guess after hearing the Attorney Litchford talk about, he seems pretty confident that he might have a resolution by the time for the next meeting. Maybe you're advised to table this until the next meeting, or is it going to?
The advice is to table it, and I do recognize to Mr. Meadows, my understanding, he's got matters set for middle August. My hope is that if we get this back at the next council meeting, it will be timely enough that will allow him to complete what he's wanting to ultimately achieve. So that is the recommendation. Yeah. And I've, like I said, I will be on, the efforts will continue, but my hope is that I hear from that attorney next week. But if not, I will contact that attorney.
Any other discussion?
Got one. By looking at the addresses, looks like the Wally's is part of McDonald Road. And Wally's will be part of Slater Road. And all 3 of the addresses are part of Slater. There's 2 addresses on McDonald. So can we do him individually by him being on 2 roads with the other people? I mean, that seemed like that'd be kind of hard to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And hence why I'm suggesting if we pass this, let us get a resolution with both property. The 3 properties are owned by 2 different owners.
Mhm.
We've got to get the arrangement with the other owners, which once we do, simplify, it basically resolves all the issues that we are identified, and we can get this approved at that time.
Any other discussion?
Do we just need to make a motion to table it?
Yeah.
I make a motion to table it until the next meeting.
Second.
We have a motion to table by Councilmember Witt and a second by Vice Mayor Chauncey. Roll call, Ms. Moreland.
Vice Mayor Chauncey,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes,
Councilmember Helton,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Ordinance number 1168 tabled. We will move to new business. Ordinance number 1172.
An ordinance to the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, setting the compensation of the city judge effective with the term beginning in September 2022 in accordance with Title III Municipal Court, Chapter 1, City Judge, Section 3-1034, salary.
Thank you, sir. I asked for this to be added to the agenda. There has to increase elected position, it has to occur prior to the election for that position. So there's some information that's been handed out to you showing the caseload and the revenue generated over the past, what is this, 8 years? Yeah, 8 years approximately, because I believe that was the term of the judge. So, so this is some of the information to justify if council approves to proceed with the a increase in compensation. Anything with that add?
No, this is, I think the mayor has received the identification of the numbers was presented as a result of from the last election to the current. So for the last seven and a half years, essentially. And so you'll see the numbers there. The increase in filings, not including traffic, is up of over 700% from 2014 to the present. And again, that does not include traffic. The number of warrants signed is up around 250% from 2014 to the current. And the current income that you're seeing there is current income that you see there. That's through, that is a fiscal year. So in the fiscal year 2022, you see that the income of 453,000 is almost a 300% increase from what it was in 2014. And those are just numbers to reflect that the municipal court is doing a great job. It's certainly taken on a huge function for the city, and for the city to seek competitive talent pool is increasing the pay for the city judge will help the city identify opportunities to be able to have a large applicant pool for the potential judge position.
Thanks, sir. Again, this one presented to the council is it's the will of the council to proceed. Yes, sir.
And sorry, you mentioned it. This is something that has to, you can't modify it during the term. So that's why it's come up is you have by the chart, that's our city charter. It must be, if it's modified, it has to be done prior to the term.
And his term's 8 years, right?
Correct. That's correct.
Not 4, but 8.
It's a, did I say, yeah, 8?
No, you didn't say. I just want to make sure.
An 8-year
Then it
term.
was 8.
All right.
Make a motion.
I'll entertain a motion for orders number 1172.
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 1172 at the rate of increase to 3,000 per month.
All right. Is there a second? Okay. All right. We have a motion by Councilmember Hilton, a second by Councilmember Witt. Do we have any discussion?
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking at the salaries here that was given out by Mr. Dorsey. And we're not the lowest, but we're not the highest. So I noticed Saudi Daisy has included yearly increase in their pay. So I don't remember seeing in our budget any money budgeted for the judge's pay increase. So I would like to see us, instead of jumping up to $1,000, I mean, the $12,000 a year, which jumps him up to 36,000, which is a 50% increase salary. But I'd like to see us go to add a 5% increase every year, which will amount to about $1,200. And at the end of 8 years, that'll have it up to about $34,000.
All right, well, I still have, I've got a motion in a second, so we're in discussion. Yes, sir.
And the concern I've got there is our city charter specifically states it cannot be increased nor decreased during a single term of office. So to have it to where it goes up would violate the charter. The charter provides it cannot be less than $1,500 per month, nor increased or decreased during a single term of office.
But we're increasing it to this ordinance this year that covers the next 8 years. So that wouldn't be coming back and increasing year to year to year, the way I look.
I can appreciate that interpretation. I would read it more that you've got to set, it cannot be less than $1,500 per, and you got to set it and you can't increase it or decrease.
So it has to be set prior to the election of a reelection or election of a judge, and it cannot then fluctuate throughout the election term.
That's how I read this. I have not seen the side days of charter, so I don't know what it looks like, and it may be different, but that's my recommendation would be set it to establish it, be a firm amount and one that does not increase or decrease during the term.
All right, any other discussion? I see none. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Chauncey,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
No,
Councilmember Helton,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Ordinance number 1172 passed first reading. We'll move to item B, resolution number 3284.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, authorizing the City of East Ridge to apply for and accept the PEP Risk Management Pool Safety Partners Matching Grant Program.
Yes. Ms. Claus.
It's one of the ones we do every year. It helps pay for, we get reimbursed for work boots, the yellow reflective gear, gloves, safety glasses. So it's just another incentive to make sure our employees are safe.
It's a 50-50 match. So we spend 3, they kick in 3 for a total of
Right.
6,000. And it's budgeted.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll entertain a motion for resolution 3284.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion approved by Vice Mayor Chauncey and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do we have any discussion? I see none. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Chauncey.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
yes,
Councilmember Helton,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Resolution 3284 pass. We'll move to item C, resolution 3285.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, authorizing the city manager or his designee to purchase 8 2022 Ford Interceptor sport utility vehicles from Lonnie Cobb Ford through the Tennessee Department of General Services statewide contract listing number 209 pursuant to Tennessee Code Annotated 12-3-1201B.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
Mayor,
sir.
Council, these are vehicles that were put into our budget for this fiscal year. Purchasing 8 SUVs, we found that those are doing a lot better than the Dodges ever were, so we'll continue with that. And I also want to note, these will be 22 models. We're expecting delivery around September for these. When the new contract comes up for 23 vehicles, each vehicle, the price will increase over $3,100 for the next time. But these will be held at $42,839
Thank you,
on the
sir.
state contract.
Thank you, sir. I'll entertain a motion for resolution 3285.
Make a motion to approve resolution 3285.
Second.
A motion to approve by Councilmember Witt and a second by Councilmember Hilton. Do you have any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Chauncey.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Helton.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution 3285 passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to item D, resolution number 3286.
Resolution of the city.
A resolution of the City Council for the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, authorizing the mayor to enter into a service agreement with Lightfoot Technology LLC for services regarding information technology.
Yes, sir, Mr. Love.
Okay, basically, this new contract will be for $69,516.28. Lightfoot basically assists me with the management of the servers, the switches, the network, as well as assist me with various IT issues that come up, like with email problems and projects I want to do. Under our current contract, that contract is for $9,864. The bulk of this contract is for routine expenses that the city has to pay that each year. Each year, the city has various IT expenses that come up. As these expenses come up for renewal, I reach out to various vendors, including Lightfoot, for quotes. And I go with the lowest quote and the one that will give the city the most bang for its buck and service. After comparing the quotes that I got for this new budget, it made sense to consolidate them with Lightfoot. Lightfoot and I feel that they would be able to offer the best service, as well as give us any future discounts on pricing as they come up. By consolidating, and I'm hoping to save the city some extra money. Otherwise, the city would continue to pay out of pocket itself, as we've been doing for the last 3 years I've been here.
Thank you, sir. We'll entertain a motion for resolution 3286.
Motion to approve 3286.
Second.
A motion approved by Vice Mayor Chauncey and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do we have any discussion?
These funds are budgeted.
Thank you, sir. I will say, I think this is very good, very well spent money. I know it seems like a lot, but it's renewing some antivirus, spam filtering. I mean, there's a lot of good things here. We don't want any, in fact, being the city manager was with a couple representative Fleshman's group and Haggerty, and they were asking how we were with our cybersecurity and antivirus protection and stuff. And we were happy to say that we had made investments and are continuing to make investments, because the last thing we want to be is held hostage. So my comments. Is there any other comments? Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Chauncey.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Helton.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Resolution 3286 pass.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to item E, resolution 3287.
A resolution of the City Council for the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, authorizing the city to accept a donation from Food City for the East Ridge Police Department.
Yes, Mayor, Council, when they had their grand opening event a couple weeks ago, they wanted to present us with a check for $500. I did advise them, council would have to approve that. So this is simply the formality. We haven't gotten the money yet, but
Let's say you still got the big check.
I didn't get it. They wouldn't let me have it until y'all approved it.
Thank you, sir. I'll entertain a motion for resolution 3287.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion approved by Councilmember Helton and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do you have any discussion? I too want to thank Food City for their donation. It was a great event. We're excited to have them across the street in a much larger facility and a lot more services. So roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Chauncey.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Helton.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution 3287 passed. We'll move to Item F, resolution 3288.
A resolution of the city council for the city of East Ridge, Tennessee, authorizing the city manager or his designee to purchase a Spartan SRT XD zero-turn mower from Lads using the Tennessee Department of General Services statewide contract listing number 66045 pursuant to Tennessee Code annotated 12-3-1201B.
Thank you, sir. I'll entertain a motion for resolution 3288.
Motion to approve.
Second. There had it.
Do we have a motion to approve by Vice Mayor Chauncey and a second by Councilmember Hilton? Do you have any discussion? Say none. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Chauncey.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Hilton.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Resolution 3288 passed. We'll move to item G, resolution 3289.
A resolution of the city council of the city of East Ridge, Tennessee, authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into an agreement with Volkert Inc. to provide professional engineering services for the John Ross Road resurfacing project.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
Yes, on this project, we put out the request for qualifications in May, and on July 8th, the selection committee of myself, Diane, Qualls, Amanda Bowers, Chris Vaughn, and Sam Sade from the Development District. We went through and analyzed the different proposals or qualifications that were given to us. And at the end, we determined that Volkert had a lot of experience. They all had a lot of experience, but Volkert came out on top, being able to help us with navigate through the TDOT red tape that we have out there and things of that nature. And so we would like to have council's blessing and approval to go ahead and get a contract with them. We obviously don't have a dollar amount yet because this was a request for qualifications. Dollar amount doesn't factor in yet, but we'll be negotiating that part after this. And the John Ross paving project right now has a little over $560,000 in it. It's a 50-50 grant split, that HIP money, Highway Improvement Program money, to move forward. And of course, with TDOT, everything takes a long time. The first step will be the NEPA or the environmental study, which could take 8 months. By the time it all goes through just to pave a road, but that's comments for another day. But we are looking forward to working with Volkert on this project.
Thank you, sir. I'll entertain a motion for resolution 3289.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion approved by Vice Mayor Chauncey and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do we have any discussion? I see none. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Chauncey.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Hilton.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Resolution 3289 passed. So all the items we have on the regular agenda, so I'll move to the next item is discussion of the tentative agenda for July 28th, 2022. Under old business, we will have ordinance number 1172, an ordinance to the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, setting the compensation of the city judge effective with the term beginning September 2022 in accordance with Title III, Multiple Court, Chapter 1, City Judge, Sections 3-1034. That would be the second and final reading. Is there any discussion? See none. We will have a tabled item, ordinance number 1168. That was tabled earlier. Well, that will be available. Underneath new business, we have an unnumbered resolution for lease purchase of tasers.
Wake up, Clint. Come on.
Fair council, I was waiting for the chief to step up. Yes, our tasers that we currently carry are basically outdated, out of warranty. So this is it's a 5-year lease for a set price each month to provide us with tasers enough to outfit the department, and also some additional, actually a training aid to use with the tasers as well.
And with this, after the 5 years, the tasers are ours.
Yes,
But
they do
the way
become ours.
technology goes, probably in 6 years anyway, we're probably gonna have to look at getting new ones again.
Correct.
We had to send this, make sure I said this right. We had to send this off to the state comptroller as well, because one of the new laws deals with the fact of a lease purchase, so to speak, even though the purchase price is zero at the end. It still falls under debt. So the state comptroller has it in their possession right now to review it and approve it as well.
Thank you.
Right.
Any discussion, council?
The comptroller has got to approve the lease.
Yes, yes. And that should be done easily before this next
Okay.
meeting. Yes. In
Any
15
other
days, it
discussion?
should be done.
Emailed with them today.
All right. Thank you, sir. Well, the next item is an unnumbered resolution, waive fee for River City Corvette Club. Yes, sir.
Well, we did receive a, I don't know if it's in here or not. Apologize, Shauna couldn't be here today. She's dealing with a tournament down at Camp Jordan right now. But with this, we did get a request from the River City Corvette Club about waiving the facility fees on Saturday, August 6th for their annual car show. They need to use the PA system, the tables and the chairs. The staff recommends waiving the fees. The one thing we didn't discuss, and I may have a discussion offline about this too. One thing I talked about during budgets where, we're happy to waive fees for nonprofits, but it shouldn't cost the city money to run it even after you waive the fees, if that makes sense. If we have to hire somebody to work overtime just for this event, those sort of fees we had talked about may need to be reimbursed by the organization, but we haven't come to a final decision on that yet. But I did mention that during the budget process. And there are other factors that could come into play on that, dealing with you're basically giving money to a nonprofit without going through a formal process because you're spending city money.
Taxpayers' money.
Yes,
Kind of in-kind service.
thank you. Correct. Yes.
All right. Any discussion, council? See none. The next item is public hearing for an unnumbered resolution regarding a short-term rental appeal. And then the next item would be the resolution, an unnumbered resolution for that short-term rental appeal. Mr. Howell.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So yes, we sent out letters to within 300 feet of everybody at this property. Obviously, we got 2 objections on it. This is for a non-owner occupied short-term vacation rental, which is located in the R2 district.
Thank you, sir.
Because you received those objections from those people, that's what's bringing this to council. If
For
there
our
was no
site.
objections, it would not be coming to council.
Right. If we didn't have any objections for a non-owner occupied, it would just be, business permit or whatever, and then we would go out and inspect it. But since we did get the objections, yeah, has to be brought to council.
All right. Thank you, sir. Council, any discussions?
I had a question. The letters that were mailed back to your office, will we see those? Will they be shown to us?
Yes, they should be in your packet, I do believe.
Well, this is for the next agenda. I don't know if it's in there or not. Is it? Yeah, they're in here.
Mhm.
They're in here.
Okay. I remember I received an email. Okay, never mind.
I got one question. Are both of these addresses duplexes or are they single family dwellings?
It's a duplex with,
Both of them are, or are they one
yeah, it's
duplex?
one, it's right. It's a duplex and 2 addresses on that duplex. Mhm.
Thank you, sir. Any other discussion? Any other business, council? See none. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. Hope everyone have a great evening. This meeting is adjourned.